Yes, ma'am.
How many vehicles did you say that you equipped it with?
Initially, we did 10 vehicles, and I think the question was, how many of y'all doing, 10 or 15? It was 10 vehicles, and we asked for 15 body cameras. That was the difference, because we knew we were gonna have 5 more patrol cars, at least we wished, and you all approved that. So we're ready for those 5 other cars, we already have the body cameras, just waiting to install in those vehicles.
Cause I know that in the beginning of the presentation, a month back, you know, when we had it, they say they both intertwine together.
Absolutely.
Would those fly that you have, the body camera, they intertwine with the, whatever system you bring in?
Yes, sir,
They'll
that's
record it,
exactly
they'll-
that,
that'll
yes,
make
sir.
it together? Okay.
Yes, sir, that's the reason why we went with this, it's top-notch equipment, and it's fully operational, I just wanna let you all know.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the consent agenda, item 8. This is discussion, consider and approve minutes from December 7th and December 14th. This is a consent item. I'm gonna go ahead and take a motion and a second, please.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 7th, 2021 and December 14th, 2021 council meeting.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilwoman Talamantes. There's a second by Councilman Hernandez. Now I'll call for questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
On the December 7th meeting, I believe that we call that meeting off. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The December 7th meeting,
Yes,
was that the meeting that we eventually called off?
yes.
Is there, I don't see
There's
mention,
no minutes.
I don't see mention of that in minutes.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I don't see any mention of that in minutes.
That there was an adjournment.
Yes. It just says it was recessed again. Well, we need to include that it was adjourned at a certain.
Okay, okay, I did
Because
see
of a
that.
lack of quorum.
I did, okay, that's the reason why. I did need to confirm when it was because I was back there working on the October minutes. I confirmed that it was 6:45 that we canceled the meeting, adjourned the meeting, I'm sorry for that.
And that would be,
They'll include that.
I don't know, it may be difficult to call for a vote to adjourn when we didn't have a quorum.
Well, but you did call off the meeting
Right.
Yes,
We did
correct.
call it. Okay,
but because of lack of quorum.
okay.
Right.
Okay.
I will do the changes to reflect the meeting was called off at 6:45 due to lack of quorum.
So do I need to amend it and do it again?
Well, the December 14th meeting has, I attended that meeting, I believe, and I'm not listed as present.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The December 14th meeting,
Uh-huh,
I attended that meeting.
uh-huh.
We'll have it on.
So those are the only two things that I found, after reading through all that.
I apologize, the civic clerk system automatically populates it, I don't know why it's not in there.
Okay, so noted, Councilman James Leal entered the meeting at 6:24. Okay, so we've got 2 corrections. Would you care to amend your motion to acknowledge those corrections, Councilwoman Talamantes?
Yes.
Okay, there's an amended motion by Councilwoman Talamantes to note the cancellation of the December 7th meeting and the addition of Councilman Hernandez to the December 14th meeting as present. There's a motion, may I have a second?
Second.
There's a second by Councilwoman Hernandez. Any further questions? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
I'll abstain since I came towards the latter part of it.
Okay, we have Councilman Leal abstaining, Councilman Hernandez, Councilwoman Hernandez, Councilman Gondeta, and Councilwoman Talamantes in favor of. All right, Council, now we'll move on to item number 9A. This is discussion, consider ordinance number 2022-0101, allowing for the placement of a 2021 double-wide manufactured home on the property described as 531 1412 Ortiz Pablo. Property is currently zoned AO, agricultural space. This is an action item. I'll take a motion.
If there's no questions, I'd like to approve the ordinance number 2022-01-01, item 9A as presented.
Okay, Councilman Gondeta, I'm gonna call for questions, but I just taken a motion out to approve. There is a motion to approve. There is a second by Councilwoman Talamontes. Now I will call for questions. Any questions on item 9A?
Is that, at 9A, is that Gabriel and Chaplin?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, in the city council, it says fiscal impact. What is that about, Mr. Reyes? If the council decides to move forward.
No, it's nothing.
We can disregard that, I'm sorry, that was something that should have, I think it should have been.
It's a recycled memo, I apologize.
Why are we disregarding that?
There is no fiscal impact. There is no
Okay,
fiscal impact.
why is this in here?
It was inadvertently left in there, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're not checking our agenda items, notes and such that are distributed to the public and to the council.
I understand.
We need to do a better job of that.
Are there any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll call for a vote then. All in favor, please say
Aye.
aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 9B, discuss and consider resolution number 2022-0101, a resolution declaring certain city property surplus and authorizing the city manager to utilize Dove Deals auctioneer to sell and or dispose of said property. This is an action item. I have a motion to approve.
Slow move.
There's a motion by Councilman Leal. I have a second. Motion by Councilwoman Hernandez. Now call for questions. Councilman, Fred, do you have any?
Mayor and council, this is, these are all seized vehicles. There's about 21 pieces of equipment there you have. So you see them on page 33 as to what will be auctioned off. So if there's any questions, Chief will probably be better about answering any questions you may have regarding the seizure of the vehicles. That's what we currently have.
I got a question,
Yes, sir.
but I got it for council, special counsel. Special counsel is, council members able to bid on these items since it's public auction?
If it's a public auction, there's no problem with you bidding on it. I mean, if it's conducted by somebody else, public auction, so on and so forth, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. I'll call for a vote. All in favor of item 9B, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 9C, discuss and consider amending the city charter regarding city council members and mayor terms and limits. This is an action item. I'll ask for a vote to approve. There's a motion by Councilwoman Hernandez. There's a second by Councilman Gondeta. Folks, this is something I asked to put on the agenda, and it's regarding our city charter, and I think I've mentioned this before, but if not, what I'd like for us to consider is we currently have in our charter where all city councils serve for a period of 2 years. There's 8 of us, including myself, 4 even years for election or re-election on odd years. What I'd like you guys to consider is effective this coming election cycle so that any new council members elected serve for a term of 4 years for a maximum of no more than 2 terms. And my thought process behind that is this. Every year with the election, there's going to be 4 of us up for election or re-election. And, with the hands of government typically move slow. We get a lot of things that we're working on, trying to put together, and it just takes a little bit of time. And as councils change, which there's nothing wrong with that, that's part of our system, my thought is I would like to see us have a little bit more continuity within the council. In other words, if we get this in place, then a council will get the opportunity to work together as that council for a 2-year term before there is another election and possible a turnover in the council. And again, as I see it, it just gives us an opportunity to help usher in the things that we work so hard to put into place. Case in point, we're close to having, what I hope to be a comprehensive master plan put in place this year. I know Councilman Hernandez has been pushing for that ever since his time on the council. And so if that is an item that we want to accomplish and achieve, and the council changes next election cycle, simply it can be not a priority, it can be put on the shelf, and all the time and money that we've invested in that, we see just go down the drain. So as I see it, this would be an opportunity for us to help usher in those things. And once we do that, I think it'll make it a little easier for other councils to approve that. So what I'm asking you to consider is to vote and to approve that effective next May, which would mean we'd have to go through the protocol necessary to get it on the ballot. And again, if you guys approve this, of course, it is subject to the voter approval. They would have to approve to change the resolution on, the charter as well. So I would ask you to consider that. We have to do that this meeting because the notices need to go out by February the 18th in order to make it into the coming election. So I'd like to see that again. It wouldn't go into place for anybody that's already in office, but as you get elected, then that takes place. And so, again, that is my thought behind this. I personally am a believer in term limits. I think a term is enough. Then you could sit out and run back, certainly is the case. But anyway, that is my spill. That's why I'd like to see this happen, and certainly welcome you guys' inputs or thoughts into that, but just simply so that we could work as a cohesive group more long term. Yes, sir, Councilman Leah.
I kind of agree with you as far as term limits should, your term of serving should be extended, but personally, I think 4 years might be too much, but 2 years is too little. I would be more of personally, a 3-3 maybe, if possible, versus a 2-4, because it not only keeps people on the council on their toes as far as whatever the case is, but also if there's someone that needs to get out, it's not 4 years you gotta wait. It's 3 years, which a year is a big.
Can be.
Right.
That's certainly.
We've seen it at the higher government levels where 4 years is just tremendously, just way too long. Especially, there is provisions on how to remove people, but it kind of makes it difficult if you look at it the way it really is.
It's certainly, I think that's probably
A
what.
recall.
Yeah, that's probably the idea of keeping it 2 years, keeping it short. I have a comment to make to that, but is there anybody else that would like to comment in that regard or thoughts that you have? It's a great point. I certainly understand, I think, the mentality behind 2 years, 2 years and then that's enough. In thinking about that, Councilman Leal, if we did a 3 years, it's going to do a 2 year cycle together and then a 1 year cycle. You're still going to, you'll hit up against, and again, my thought is just where there is every 2 years, this council is it. And to that point, my thought is, and this is the great thing about our democracy, we're a diverse group with diverse ideas and thoughts and mentalities, but we learn to work together. And so, again, that's your thought in it.
Bobby, are we able to do, is it by charter that it's an 8 year, or is it just state that you're only allowed to serve 8 years on the council, as far as before you time out?
It's six. It's six.
Right now, it's 6, I believe.
Yeah, but can we, if we wanted to, can we do a 3 years term with 3 term limits? 3 years serving, 3 terms.
You could have a limit amount of term limits.
Yeah, you mean, sure, the answer to your question is the council can propose, and the voters can vote on any combination of
Correct.
terms, 2 to, well, actually, 3 or 4, because you're at 2, and any combination of.
How many years consecutively?
Exactly. For example, a number of years, period, or a number of years break for a term, and then another, basically any combination you come up with.
Yeah, because I think the school's currently, at 3 years? 3 years, and I think that's a great combination because, it gives them enough time to get projects done, but if it's someone that needs to be removed, it gives that time to get that person out as well.
So we'd have to, if you vote on that, we'd have to have the city attorney structure that right so that, every 3rd year, it's pretty easy now. Odd numbers, odd years, even number, even year, and the mayor in that group. But so anyway, it is easy. We'd have to make sure that we we highlighted that, and I do, like that, I do understand your point. Yes, sir, Councilman Wu.
Why not do 2 terms of 3 years, you know, that's 6 years.
Correct, yeah, that works.
That's easier, that's better.
Yeah.
Everything in my mind, anything that we do is an improvement for the reasons so stated. I still very much am in favor of 4 and 2, but you guys, I mean, y'all vote. Councilman, I'd love to hear your input as well as what you guys think.
Yeah.
I agree with the
I
3-year
like-
term,
yeah.
that was my mentality
Me
coming
too.
in, and, you know, and you actually answered my question, cause I was gonna see if the public actually had to vote on this, but you answered it already, you know, right before that. But, and I truly agree with the reasoning behind it, we talked about it,
Yeah.
you know, and, I agree wholeheartedly about that.
Councilman?
I would agree, sometimes you get at that wins, and when you don't have enough time to actually kind of work and get things done, it's time to get out. But I do think like a 3-year is kind of in between where I think you have enough time, instead of saying 2's too quick and 4 can be too long.
Okay.
I think it would work, I like that idea.
I think it's a right idea as well, because, I mean, I've been already here 4 years, and last year it barely started. You know, I could see that there's something started, you know,
Mhm.
moving that when I came in, you know, the planning was already there. But now I see something happening after the 3rd year, so, you know, I think it would be good for 3.
Would you guys, 2 years or 2 terms or 3 terms?
I was gonna say, I mean, does it have to be 2 terms at 3? I mean,
You can set.
the reason I'm saying is the school district has no terms, you know?
I think we should have a term limit, personally. That's just me.
No, hey, I was asking a question, I agree as well, but then you're gonna have to blame the citizen for voting him in, you know, so.
I mean, sometimes, unfortunately, yeah, they are voted in by the citizens, but they're not really in par with what's going on.
Well, what I'm gonna ask you guys is to make a motion, and in the motion, set the terms, and then set the tenure, how many years, set the terms, how many terms. It is up to you guys, and if you don't like that, don't approve it, don't vote. But then also instruct the city attorney to structure the language for the ballot, so that we get something, that we can understand and follow through.
Yes, once a consensus is reached and a vote is approved, we'd certainly have to know what you intend.
Yeah.
The question comes up, who's the beneficiary of extended terms? Typically what happens is, if the voters approve, you can make it apply to anyone elected at that time moving forward, but it certainly doesn't benefit anyone
Yes.
currently in office. That is, if you're up for reelection and you're running for reelection and the voters approve it, we can draft the language so that then whoever's elected, including yourselves, you will be elected for a 3-year term, for example. But it doesn't extend the term, obviously, of anyone currently in office. So there is a bit of a transition that you have to get over as it relates to staggered terms and moving forward. But it certainly is doable.
And so I would recommend that to council, that you do make it effective in the May election, where we get this in place and start running it. Councilman Hernandez?
Can I make a motion?
You sure may.
Okay, I move that, city council elections be held for, city council membership for 3-year terms.
2 years.
3 years, 2 terms, and, sitting out 1 year to rerun again for another 3-year term.
Okay, may I ask for clarification on that? Now, you can run 2 terms
2
consecutive.
terms, sit out 1 year, and then
Okay.
you can run another
Okay.
2 terms. if
Okay.
you like.
Yes, that's good.
And direct council to express that language.
I'll rely on,
Yes.
3-year terms, number of terms is gonna be 2, you're gonna sit out between, terms for 1 year.
so that's,
The length of term is 3 years.
3 years,
2
yes.
terms.
Term length is 3,
Yes.
number of terms consecutive is gonna be 2,
Right.
and then you sit out for 1 year in between serving terms. So after your 6-year stint, you have to sit out for 1 year
Yes.
before you can run
Before you
again.
can run it
2
again.
consecutive terms.
And effective on the May.
1 year, not 1
2022.
term, just 1 year.
1 year.
Okay.
Yes.
Effective May.
Effective with the May 2022 election.
Okay, we have a motion on the table where there will be a 3-year tenure for 2 terms.
Councilman Mayor.
That's what mayor.
Yeah.
Second.
There's a, guys, you're repeating the motion, make sure there's a motion on the floor to change the charter, to go to the citizens for a vote, to extend the term of 3-year duration, no more than 2 terms at a time, where you may sit out a 1-year term before you run again, effective the May 2022 election. There's a motion by Councilman Hernandez. You have a second. There is a second by Councilman Gondeta. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.